Hi and welcome to the next tutorial. In today's lesson we'll learn how to create this reveal text effect using Adobe After Effects. So anyways guys, let's jump in. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a new composition. 1920 by 1080 pixels will be fine, and we'll change the duration a little bit later. So I'm just going to press OK. Once I have that, I then need to go and create a new solid for my background. Now once I've created the new solid, I can come over here and type in gradient ramp to find the gradient ramp effect. I can just double click that on my solid, and then I can go to color hunt and choose two colors here. So here I am in color hunt and I'm going for a dark scheme, so I'm going to choose this theme here. So once you're happy with your gradient, you can then move on to the next step. So the next step is to come over here and right click and then create a new shape layer. And this time we are going to change the color. So again, I'm just using color hunt for my colors and I've pasted that in. I'm setting the stroke width to about 15 and I'm changing the fill to none. And then what I need to do is I need to come over here and grab the pen tool. I'm going to zoom in and I'm just going to click and then hold shift and then draw another line down. So if I have a look at that, now it's created a nice stroke on that line. So the next thing I need to do is I just need to move the anchor point in the middle, and then I need to come over to my align tools, and then I just need to align it to the middle of my page. Cool. Now if you want to come back and change the length of that shape layer, all you need to do is click on the shape layer and you can hold shift and you can make it bigger and smaller as you like. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to create the text layers. So I'm going to come over here, right click new text layer, and then I'm going to write my text. Now the font that I'm using DAX Compact Pro, and there's only a thick version of it, which is fine, but what works here is you can go with a thick font here and a thin font on the other side. So anyways, I'm going to change the color to what Color Hunt provided us. And so I'm just pasting in the color that I got from Color Hunt, and then I'm just going to move it around just so it fits on the other side as well. Now with this font, I've just moved the spacing to maybe -6, something like that, and I've chosen this font size. If you want to increase the font size or change the fonts, everything can be found in the character panel. I don't have a stroke on the text, but if you did want a stroke, you can come over here and double click it and change the stroke to whatever color that you want, but I'm not going for a stroke right now. So now once you're happy with the text, all we need to do is align it in the middle, and what we can do is we can hold control and double click on the pen behind anchor point tool to put the anchor point in the middle, and then we can just come over to our line tools and align it vertically. So once you're happy with your text, all you need to do is duplicate the layer by pressing Ctrl D and then moving the layer to the other side. You can hold shift to keep it straight, and then you can just change the text to whatever you like. So now the next thing that we have to do is to get this text to reveal, we need to create a mask. Now there are a few ways to do this. You can just come over here and grab a rectangle tool and you can create a mask like that. Or you can come over here and create a new solid. I'm just going to press OK, and then you right click on the solid and you can go new mask. So once you've created your solid, all you need to do is just grab the end, make sure you hold shift, and then just move it in the middle of that line that you have right there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make sure that firstly, I'm just going to label it and just going to call it mask. And I'm going to make sure that it's on top of the text on the right hand side. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm on that layer, go to my track matte. And if you don't see that, you can just click this button down here. And then you can go to Alpha Matte Mask. And so now if you've done that correctly, it looks like nothing's happened. But if I pick up this text and if I move it across, you can see that it starts to kind of not be visible once it passes that point over there. So now that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to move this shape layer right to the top. Now before we duplicate the mask layer, I'm going to come over here to the text layer, and I'm going to press P on the keyboard for position, because I'm going to actually start the animation now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward in time 1 second, and then I'm going to set the stopwatch for the position, and then I'm going to move backwards to the start of the animation, and then I'm going to make sure that the text goes until you can't see it. So it looks something like that. So now if I preview that back, the text comes out and it's looking really, really cool. But we can make that animation look a lot better by highlighting both of those keyframes, right clicking and then going into Easy Ease then coming into your graph editor, highlight the first side and then bring it closer to the middle. And so now we've got this ramp that goes up and then it comes down. And so this gives it a little bit more acceleration and snappiness. And that's looking really, really good. So now we're going to duplicate the mask and do the same for the other side. So I'm just going to duplicate the mask by pressing Ctrl D and then make sure that the mask 2 layer is on top of the text on the left hand side. And now this time when we come over here, we are going to change the matte to alpha inverted matte, so we can leave the mask on the right hand side. And so now to test to see if that actually works, I can press P on the keyboard for position and then move this over, and you can see here that the mask is still on this side of the screen. And because we've alpha inverted it, we don't have to touch anything else and create a new mask or anything like that. So that's a good way to save a little bit of time. But we're gonna repeat that process again. So I'm gonna come over here to 1 second, the same point at which the first text layer was animating in. I'm gonna set the stopwatch on there. I'm gonna move to the front of the animation and then I'm just gonna move it over. So I'm just gonna move it till about there. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to right click on these keyframes, easy ease them, go to the graph editor, and then just make sure that we bring them a little bit closer together so they have that snappiness. And that's looking pretty good as it is. Cool. So the next step that we need to do is we need to animate this stroke shape layer that we have here. So I'm going to go and find the layer. And then I'm going to open it up and go into transform, and we need to worry about the scale. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to go to the start of my animation. I'm going to set a stopwatch. I'm going to unlink the scale and I'm going to set the scale. Make sure you remember this number. So I'm going to copy that number and then I'm just going to press 0. And then I'm going to move forward in time to about 1 second as well. And then I'm just going to paste that value back in. And if you've done that correctly, you will see that it comes up just as the text is revealing. And so now we can make the animation better by easy easing those keyframes. So I'm just going to come over here, easy ease, and then go to the graph editor. And what we need to do is we need to click and hold and drag the 2 points until they're closer together, just like we did with the text animation. And now if you've done that correctly, it will all come up at the same time, and that's looking really, really nice. And if you want to change anything, for example, if you want to make that animation a little bit faster, we can do that. Or we can make the text come in a little bit later. So maybe let's do that at about 12 frames where we can put that in. So now you will have the line comes up and then the text will come up as well. So now that's looking really, really good, and we can move on to the final step. So now the final thing that we can do is we can just reverse those keyframes. So if I press U on my keyboard for all of my keyframes, and let's say I copy these keyframes, and then I move forward in time to probably around there. And then if I right click on that and go into Keyframe Assistant and go time reverse, now everything is going to reverse back the other way. So I'm going to do the same for these keyframes, make sure I'm on the same point, and then right click, time reverse. And so now when we preview that, the text will come back in. And then what we can do is we can reverse the final keyframe. So I can put that in roughly around there. And now we've got a complete animation which starts up, it reveals, and then it ends just like that. So the other thing that I added was a little bit of drop shadow. So on these text, I can go over here to my effects, and if I write drop shadow, I can add a small amount of drop shadow. Let's increase that to about 70%. And this is good if you are going to put this text on another video. And I'm just going to do the same for the other text. So if I zoom in, you can kind of see that drop shadow effect there, and that's looking really, really good. So the final thing I want to show you before this video ends up is what can we actually do with this text. Now it looks alright in the middle, but if you want to move it around, what you can do, or change the size and things like that, you can come over here and you can right click and go to new null object. I'm just going to put that right at the top, and then I'm just going to get rid of all these keyframes so that we can see it all. And then all I'm going to do is parent all of these layers. I'm just going to click on this parent pick whip and parent it to the null object. And so now once I've done that, if I come over here and press S for scale, I can now make this bigger, smaller, and I can do a lot more things with it. So for example, if I wanted to make this as a lower third and put it in the bottom corner like that, I can do that with the null object. And so now I've got like a really nice lower third kind of effect that's working there. And so if you just went and added, you know, any other video or stock footage or whatever, you can put it above the background layer. So I'll show you what I mean. So now I've just put a So I'll show you what I mean, because now I've just put a video that's used as the background. And so now if I play that, you can see that I've got this cool looking kind of lower third effect, and my video is playing just like that. So anyways guys, that's a quick tutorial on how to do some revealing text using After Effects. I hope you guys learned something. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.